Hi everybody, this is Bullseye Handicapping. Jockey weight approach to playing the races or not playing the races, skipping races and passing races. And I wanted to come on today because of the fact that, while I was thinking about everything, and I'm making my Bullseye group of horses that I'm totally focused on and, wanting to create a path that they're going to run over the next 4 months. And one of the horses that I came up with that I forgot to mention was Further Ado. And my story started back when Further Ado, I think, ran in church. When I saw that how big of a race he ran at Keeneland. And I also remember months ago that Keeneland is where the Breeders' Cup's going to be. And I was so shocked to get 4 to 5 on him in his race in the return to Keeneland. People just doubted him and they played other horses, which is good. Um, uh, and Further ado now is going to be going into the Derby. And it's not so much that Further Ado isn't the best horse going into the Derby or is going to run, not going to run. What I actually want him to do is not run because I want him to get dirty now. Again, probably run about a 5 on the thoroughbred sheets. Um, you know, because the Derby is a 20 horse field, and insanity is the Derby. Playing horses is insanity. The whole thing about the game is insanity. We're insane. I mean, my new approach, bullseye handicapping, betting, horses that are going to be 4 to 5, 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 9 to 5, even money, and making a large investment on them. And mainly because I don't want to gamble anymore. I don't want to gamble and go to all the dances and play all these other races and depreciate my bankroll. I'd rather take a leap and risk the one unit, the whole unit. Not to, to restrict, to get a black belt in the art of restriction by passing races and passing races. And one of the reasons I came on was not just to talk about Further Ado, and I'll get back to that, but it's also because for the first time, I have no interest in all at looking at horse racing data for the upcoming week. There were times when I still looked at it. There was times when I just wanted to follow it. Watching Jeremy Plank's show, and I just want to see how he does. But that's all just stroking, because I've been handicapping for 50 years. Um, I'm like a machine. I want to handicap, but that's over. That's done. And what I'm really happy about today is that I actually feel that, like I'm creating a story where the money that I want to invest in horse racing from this point on is only in prom races. It's only in graded races. No more dances, no more turf, no more sprints, no more this, no more that, no more playing because of the fact that, I have nothing to do. I'm bored. I gotta play. I want more. No more of that, because that money is part of a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is to only play prom races, graded races. Only play when I'm wowed. Only play when I've created a story over months. Not playing live and freaking out and you know having the desire to play race after race. And the other subject I wanted to talk about was like people don't understand the devastation a horse player goes through by losing all of those races in between, the races that you really want to play. The worst thing a horse player could do is play races that they don't want to play, but they play them anyway. Unplayable races, or races that they play because of a reaction to a loss. And believe me, when your ego is deflated by a loss, you start to wobble. You're not standing anymore. You're not sitting anymore. You're not firm, and you're not confident. There's an effect that happens to you after every loss. And most handicappers are losing 80 to 85% of the time, some 90, some 100. And the devastation of that, I liken it to going into the ring with Mike Tyson. That's my visualization. Every time I want to play a race, I'm facing Mike Tyson. Do I want to fight Mike Tyson today? And the answer shouldn't be 95% of the time, no fucking way do I want to fight Mike Tyson. And that's my mentality. My mentality is, no fucking way do I want to play Keeneland today or any other track. Even, I don't do that anymore. And today I realized why. Because that money belongs to a bigger picture. That money belongs to what I want to do. And what I want to do is play graded races. So that money is not available to be playing all these other races anymore. So I'm creating a mojo foe that keeps me ironclad. And these are the type of fences you got to put up when you want to go to a higher level of playing. You have to, it doesn't matter how you do it, and to criticize how I'm doing it don't matter. It's just you got to do, are you having a good time? Are you having a blast? Or are you miserable? Or did you just lose 5 races today and went 5 rounds with Mike Tyson? What are you, insane? Of course you are. You're a horse player. But I mean, are you crazy? Are you just stupid? Every time you look at a race and you had no intention of looking at it, if you keep looking at it, you're going to play it. Human nature, horse racing's human nature. I want to play another race. Hope. Hope is bullshit. You have to have a well planned out approach and then have ninja balls to make an investment and then no wobble. If you're gonna stand, stand. If you're gonna sit, sit. But don't wobble. Wobbling is the devastation of a horse player. Man, I should have. Oh, I was gonna play. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. The truth of the matter is that you have to have gambling is difficult. Investing in a horse is difficult. Investing in projecting an end result is extremely difficult. Again, I liken it to being out in the ocean, with tidal waves. No, now my game's on land. I play on land. I don't play no more playing every dance out there in the ocean. No, I sit on the land. I go to the bleachers and I don't play. I don't play any of these races. I don't watch live. But most importantly, I don't open up a racing form. I don't look at horse racing data. I don't know who's running. I don't care who's running. And it's just not available for me. I'm not going to the dance. I stay away from the dance. And I don't even have to look at it later because it has no relevance to anything I'm doing. I'm only going to be doing the graded races, and the next graded race is going to be in Oaklawn Park. It has nothing to do with Keeneland. It has nothing to do with Parks. It has nothing to do with any of these other tracks. So I'm not there. I got to put myself in prison and just wait and exercise my black belt in the art of restriction and the art of patience and waiting. But again, I wanted to go back to, the devastation of, thinking that you could beat the shit out of Mike Tyson. It's not going to happen. The dude is a mofo, Joe. 95% of the time, Mike's going to win. Now, what I'm hoping with the big stake races is that 5% of the time, Mike goes out and gets a little bit of sugar, a little bit of putang, and a little bit of too much alcohol, etc. And then he's boo, and I come in and I beat the shit out of Mike. Once in a while. 1 day a week, Saturday, 1 race, no linking races together, and try to take down Mike. If Mike still is able to beat me, there's nothing I can do about it. But I've done everything I wanted to do. I've done everything that I planned to do, and I only played a race because I was wowed and the bet made me. But most importantly, you have to stop thinking that you have to want to play all the time. So getting back to, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about was that, um, you know, the effect that this has on a horse player in the sense of anxiety is tremendous. The amount of anxiety that you lose when you're not betting 95% of the time like you used to, all of a sudden you can chill. All of a sudden you can have a different mojo. All of a sudden you can start to sit out and say, "Holy shit, man! You really do lose 8 out of 10 races, 9 out of 10 races all the time. I got to be more selective." You groove to that place. It took me 10 years to groove over there. But the only way you realize that is by not just getting back into the groove of playing, but change your mojo. Uh, think about it. How many decisions are you making if you're playing 5 days a week, 5 races, three to five races a day? Thousands of decisions, tremendous anxiety, and then of course you got to medicate because you just eight out of 10 times you're going to be going in the ring with Mike Tyson. You don't think you got to get medicated and bandage up and get to the hospital? So most handicappers are going to smoke, they're going to drink, they're going to do marijuana, cocaine, whatever their vice is, whatever their thing is, they're going to do it because how else could you get up the next day? I don't do that. What I'm doing is I'm dancing. What I'm doing is I'm walking. What I'm doing is I'm trying to do other things. Yeah, unfortunately, because of the devastation of the 50 years of horse racing, I do medical marijuana. Because, yeah, I got my ass whooped playing the races. I never lost a lot of money. I never got in trouble over those 50 years, which is phenomenal in itself. And I was able to stay in the game, which is phenomenal. But there's consequences. There's major consequences. And, I don't know when I want to get involved with that, but I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I'll introduce it. Because you go into the horse racing bubble for 15, 20, 25 years, in my case, 50 years, that's all you do is horses. You became a horse player and you became an addicted horse player. So that means that your girlfriend, your wife, your brother, your family, anything else is secondary, third. And the percentage of time that you're going to spend with them is 25%, tops 20%. So if you're married, you're giving your wife 25% of your attention a week for those 5 days that you play. Because you're married to the horses. You're not married to a woman. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't have a friend. You don't have a relationship outside of horse racing when you're doing horse racing at the level that most people are doing it. Trying to be a professional, trying to win at the game. So the devastation is there. And unfortunately, if you stay in the game for 50 years, you're not going to have access to your children. They're not going to know who you are. You're definitely not to get, in my case, no access to my grandchildren, no access to my child. That's the consequences of the game. And that's devastating. It's worse than the fighting Mike Tyson. So just something to know, something that I wanted to bring out there. And I'll talk about that another time. Just to give you guys, the mofo Joe of the situation as a horse player for 50 years, like I told you. So again, getting back to what it's all about is horse racing. So again, following what I also learned today was one of my bullseye horses is gonna be Further Ado. But what I want to happen with Further Ado is, first of all, I don't want him to win the Derby, but he can. But I don't want him to win the Derby. I want him to get a little dirty now because he's too shiny. He's too much like gold. The same as Sovereignty right now. Sovereignty's too much like gold. journalism, too much, gold, and I mean, these are just great horses. So I'm hoping that Further Ado gets in, and I'm hoping Further Ado gets into trouble, um, and doesn't do too well, but runs a really good race. Um, you know, can he win? I think he can win the race if that's what their plan was. But it's not something that I'm my. It's not my narrative at this point of view. I find the Derby to be impossible. It's really the best race to play, but it's actually the worst. It's the best and the worst. It's the worst because the degree of difficulty is so damn high. Forget about it. It's the best because you know it's the biggest. It's one of the biggest proms you're gonna go to. I mean, you get your tuxedo on. You think about it for months. Everything about it is bada bada boo boo. But the truth of the matter, to make an investment in it, that's hard. To make an investment that you feel really comfortable about, that's hard. So if you can lock into an investment in the Derby, that's great. That's something that you definitely want to entertain continuing. But I find that really difficult. Where I find the opportunities in the game is in the prep races, because what a lot of times you're going to have mismatches. You're going to have situations where, your horse is the horse. He's using this race possibly as a prep race for races going forward. And again, using those prep races. One second. Okay. That's where you get lopsided races where the favorite has probability of winning is really really high, and that's where my focus is. So again, getting back to Further Ado though, is that so I want him to get a little dirty, but if he wins it, that's fine. And then I want to see, the best thing is the information you get out of the Derby. That's you'll be looking at the Derby result throughout the rest of the 4 or 5 months going forward, all the way up to the Breeders' Cup. So the race is just unreal. Everything about it again is unreal, and what happens out of it is what's fascinating. Where trainers are going to put their horse next time, who's going to go to the Preakness, who's going to go somewhere else, who's going to go to, and that's where the opportunities all lie. So what came up while I was just letting my mind just wander is the futures. I really like the idea of the futures bet, and I never did this before, and never even thought about it before because I was probably playing races that I shouldn't be playing, instead of sitting back and waiting and finding golden nuggets. But I love the idea of the Breeders' Cup future bets. I got to figure a way of getting involved with the Breeders' Cup future bets, because I have an opinion, and right now I can't bet Further Ado in the Breeders' Cup Classic. His odds will be too low. I need him to get dirtier, and I need his odds to get higher. But Baeza is not a bad future Breeders' Cup bet at this particular point in time, because he's not revealed yet. We don't know what's going to come out of Baeza this year. We have no idea. And I think you want to get that future bet in before he runs in the Ali Sheba, because he could run really well during that Ali Sheba, which will get a lot more people's attention. Whereas now, he's not of premier attention. He's not even, he's whispers, but he's not the talk of the town like Sovereignty is in journalism, and Further Ado. So I'm definitely going to look into that and see, and I'll get back about that. So I just wanted to introduce these three topics today because it's burning in me, and this is what I do. Is the other thing I want to do is I want to look at results charts for all graded races this year and last year, and see what the mojo is on that. And when I get bored and I want to do something to do with horse racing, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then chart that, and then also get a trainer stats. Like for example, I know Todd Pletcher is really good at the prep races going into the Derby and into the big races. Cox is really good at it, and there's a few other trainers that are pretty good at it. Asmussen, good, but I don't. A lot of disappointments there. Some of the other trainers, I'm still getting to know. Um, I want to see who's taking over Lucas's barn. What trainer is doing that, and because I think that that can go either way. It could be either upgraded or downgraded. Um, so that's what I look at. That's my mofo Joe. That's my way of approaching horse racing at this time. So that's about all I have to say for now. Again, if anybody ever wants to say hello, 475-279-5398. Hope you guys have a good time until Saturday. And hope you have a good Keeneland on Wednesday today. And again, let the horse be with you, as Harvey Potter said. Bye now.